Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome to First 15 at 8:15. This is Rich. Glad to have you all here. Hope you can hear me fine. And we're going to talk about the facts on where mortgage rates are likely to go. Isn't that funny? Sounds like an opinion. Where mortgage rates are likely to go, but facts about it. It's what we're actually going to do. And how to talk about that to benefit your client. So 2 or 3 times, sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 times throughout the year, I do what we call talking points. So let me just explain. Talking points are honest opinions. Now, there are talking points that are not honest. You won't get that from us, obviously. You know, people can create talking points to create rumors. People do that sometimes in politics. But here on the First 15 at Real Estate Grad School and throughout Real Estate Grad School, when we have talking points where they're honest and sincere, and we're not doing it overly for a purpose. Of course, our purpose is to encourage people to buy or sell real estate if it's smart for them. So honest and sincere, prepared comments. So you look at them, you think about them, you practice them, you rehearse them. Honest and sincere, prepared comments intended to motivate people to think about buying or selling real estate. Okay, we'll understand that in a second. So, you know, a simple example, which we're going to talk about today, is interest rates have gone up over 4%. In September, they were at 3 point something, and by the middle of January, they're at 4 point something. So interest rates are going up. The prediction is that by the people in the government who control these things, that they are going to go up further, and so it might be smart to buy a house earlier in the year, or if you know anybody who might be buying, to sort of let them know and encourage them. So that's a honest and sincere, prepared comment intended to motivate people to think about buying or selling real estate. And not only that, but to motivate people to encourage others to buy or sell real estate and to refer you to them. You see, because what I want for you is, I want you to be the source of honest, thoughtful, and optimistic information on real estate. Now, there were periods of time, 2007, 2008, when there was not an optimistic reason to buy or sell. And so for a few weeks, maybe even a month or two, we were not encouraging people. My talking points, our talking points, Real Estate Grad School's talking points, were not about buying or selling. They were about waiting, because house prices were just declining very quickly. So it wasn't smart to buy, because literally in 2 weeks, prices would be lower. And it wasn't smart to sell. It was smart to sell. Actually, it was smart to sell, but at that time, but it was difficult to. And so you could have that talking point that, you know, get your house sold now before prices went down further. Agents who encouraged their clients to sell in 2006, 2007 before the prices dropped. Now, let's not talk too much about dropping prices, because prices seldom drop in a real estate market because of supply and demand. Yeah, it's actually probably worth talking point. You know, what happened in 2006 through 2008? And I tell people, the federal government made a rule that made it so easy for people to borrow money that very quickly people discovered ways to borrow money, not very quickly, it took a few years. Dishonest appraisers, dishonest bankers, and I say dishonest because many of these people ended up in jail. Dishonest appraisers, dishonest bankers, dishonest people at different levels, okay, took advantage of people because the government changed the laws and made it easier for them to do that. Since then, the laws have been tightened up. What did they do? They made it so easy to borrow money that people could borrow money without. The federal government thought if you made it that easy, more people would be homeowners. The problem was, if you can't afford to be a homeowner, and then you allow the builders to build. So the point is this, that as long as the federal government has reasonable housing policies and don't put theory ahead of good common sense, we're going to have a market that's healthy and continually gets stronger and prices go up. Okay, that's not the talking point I wanted to talk about today, but you want to be the source for that kind of thinking. You want to be the source for honest, thoughtful, optimistic information about real estate. Now, I was on a ski trip with a bunch of guys on Sunday, and we were having this conversation, a few of us, a few different times. Why a few different times? because I had it with one person. And when I have these conversations, I have them fairly publicly so that people can listen. And then other people came up to me and said, what do you think is really going to happen? Do you think it's really the best time now? Can you explain that to me? And then we start another conversation. So I become the source for honest, thoughtful, optimistic information. And because of people's experience with me and the way I want people to feel about you, people look to you for answers about real estate. I get calls, not every day, but weekly, from people looking for, insight, something they've read, etc. So what the talking point I want to talk about this year is this. If you are thinking about buying a home this year, or if someone you care about was buying and asked you, actually this is a message to you as the agent, if you personally, you as the agent, if you were thinking about buying a home this year, okay, if you were, this is not the talking point, this is a question for you, forgive me, when I wrote this last night, I had you in mind. All the coaching clients listening to this, all real estate agents, if you literally, Scarlett, Taryn, Terry, Tony, any of you, are thinking about buying a home this year, or if a daughter, a son, a relative, a best friend, if someone you care about was buying and asked if they should buy now or wait until spring or summer, now we're talking about buying, not selling, what would you say to them? Actually, even selling, what would you say to them? And why would you say it? Think to yourself, if you or someone you cared about was buying or selling, and given that, I want to share some facts with you. Okay, interesting. This is from, if you look at the government look, from bankrate.com. I like bankrate.com in terms of looking for this. I just downloaded this last night. This is a chart that shows the trend of national average mortgage rates on a 30-year fixed mortgage from 1985 until 2012, 2013. Okay, the one we want to look at is the blue and the green fixed rate mortgages, because the dark blue one on the bottom is an adjustable rate mortgage, which is not necessary or popular right now. So what happened? First of all, in 1982, 83, 84, interest rates were at that 15, 16% rate. But by 1985, they had come down to 12.5%. Yeah, that's a mortgage rate. That people were borrowing money to buy houses at 12.5%. And there's been sort of a steady decline. There was a dip in 1992, 93 over here, where rates got to about 6.5%, 7%. Then they went back up to 8.5%. They were in the 7% range for about 5 years. And then they dropped down, and they were in this about 6% range for about 8 years. That was quite a long time. And then in about 2008, well, it was in 2008, presidential election, and the new president, Obama at the time, lowered interest rates, which was fabulous, and brought in an economic policy that dropped interest rates down to under 3%. So the fact is, it's been trending down. Now, obviously, it can't get much below that, if any below that, because the banks do have to have a reason to lend the money. I guess the federal government could lend all the money to buy houses, but that would not be a prudent thing to do. So I just want you to notice mortgage rates traditionally dropped in that way. Okay. Now, this is this year and last year, the end, November 2016, January 2017. So at the beginning of November 2016, rates were about 3.7, 3.8%. They rose, and by December, they were over 4%. And now they're at 4 and rising. Now, they took a little dip, I think, to closer to 4, but we're right in this range. So I just want you to see that the trend has gone down. Now, the question is, will the trend continue up, or will it drop back down? So let's just take a look. This is the rate. Now, this is interesting. Take a look at this. This is a federal funds rate. This is people say that, you know, the money at which, I'm not sure what that rate, who borrows at that rate. I think just everybody, the government controls this rate. So when they said the Fed meets and decides whether to raise rates or not, so the Federal Reserve raised the target rate for federal funds by 25 basis points. That's 0.25 of 1%, to a rate of 0.5%. So all this time, from 2009 through 2016, the end of 2016, December 2016, the rate was at about 0.025%, almost zero. Okay. Now, what this rate is it's a rate the government sets that everybody measures against. I'm not sure exactly, but I could look that up for a future first 15. But then in December, it went up to 0.5%, and then in January, it just rose again to 0.75%, or maybe that was in December. So, and I want you to just read this next piece here. This is the top of Janet Yellen's head. She is the Fed chairman. I think she's still the Fed chairman. The federal funds rate is 0.075%. Okay, right now. That is creating, it's promulgating, I don't know what the right word is, interest rates that rose over 4%. So at 0.25%, the banks were lending mortgages under 4. At 0.75 with the fund rate, it's over 4. The Federal Reserve expects to raise the rates 3 more times in 2017 to about 1.5%. Now, unless there's a major financial crisis, and right now there's a lot of optimism. You hear about not Trump or no Trump. Through the end of the Obama administration, you heard about the economy getting better and better and better. Okay? Will Trump destroy it? Who knows? There seems to be optimism, but the point is the Federal Reserve right now expects, they weren't saying this the last 7 years. They were saying they didn't know they were going to be conservative, probably keep the rates low. They expect to raise the rate 3 more times in 2017 to 1.5%. It signaled it will raise rates to 2% in 2018 and 3% in 2019. Okay, this is going to bring the rates back up to probably a 6% rate within the next 2 or 3 years. Okay, it first raised interest rates in December 2015. That's after being at 0. Forgive me, that I stated that wrong earlier. In 2008, the Fed funds rate controls short-term interest rates. These rates include the prime rate, LIBOR adjustable rate. Now, I don't know if I have it on the next slide. Oh yeah, mortgage rates are dictated mostly by movements, but the Fed can have a huge influence. Even though the federal fund rate is not tied to mortgage rates directly, it affects them indirectly because it impacts their lenders' borrowing costs. So this green line is the fund rate, and this blue line is the mortgage interest rates. So you can just see they do trend always to follow this fund rate. If it's more expensive for the banks to borrow money, oh, that's the rate at which the banks borrow money. Okay, got it. They will pass that expense on to their customers, says Brett Sinnock, director of the secondary mortgage market at GMC Mortgage. So this is a mortgage guy saying if it's more expensive for the banks to borrow, they're going to pass it on to their customers. In the current environment, any change will have a direct, in the current environment where the Fed rate's so low, any change will have a direct impact and negative impact on rates. Now, when he says negative impact on rates, he means rates are going to rise. So nothing drastic, nothing major, just there's going to be a rise in rates. So that this movement that started in 2015, but started in certainly November to rise up, is very likely to continue. So would you tell someone that it is smarter to wait or smarter to begin looking at buying now? Smarter to be looking at selling now, just in case those increase in rates dampens the ability for people to buy, so there's less demand. So as this word gets out more and more, as we see the next bump in rates, there may be a slowdown, but there may be a quick buildup when people see that this is just the beginning and rates are going to go to 4, 4.25, 4.5, and suddenly we may have a big push. But the point is, it's probably smarter to take action now than later by any facts that we have to back this up. Now, people can say, no, I don't believe any of that stuff, you know, etc. People can say, I'm so concerned about what's going on that I don't want to make a move. I want to, you know, stay in my house, be secure. But I just want you to see the background to the things I've been telling you when I've been saying to you that rates are going to rise and probably rise to the 5 or 6% level, and it's smarter for people to make moves than later. And it's not to convince people, it's just to give people a background so when they begin to see what's happening, they can make the best decisions. And I'm not telling you, I'm telling you so that you can get comfortable discussing this, looking this up, and you can help influence other people's decision that it might be much smarter now. So the point being, I want you to begin to have this conversation with people. Just have it. It's not like trying to convince them. Admit, look, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just want you to look what I'm seeing and what my coach is showing me as to why it might make sense to take action sooner than later. So just have the conversation. No pressure. Somebody sent a note. Let me see what it says. No pressure. The federal fund rate is the interest rate at which the deposit, right? Thank you, Lisa. In the United States, the federal fund rate is the interest rate at which the deposit. Got it. Thank you, Lisa. So the point is that I want you to begin having this conversation so that you can, and keep listening, keep learning, keep asking me questions. I'll look things up, because this ability to speak intelligently, to show something, and then when it happens, people come rushing to you instead of others. You could write your own little white paper, opinion paper on what's happening. Use some of these facts and check things on the internet. The point being that I want you to become that person that people think of and go to when they wonder what they should do with their real estate, or when they have friends or loved ones that do, and they want to refer to somebody. And when I tell people, I say, look, you make your own decision. I just want to show you what I'm seeing, and I've been around long enough to be pretty confident in the basis and the recommendations that I make. So begin to have this conversation with people, just to start to be that expert that people look to and talk to. And if you want to talk about this, tomorrow morning's live call, I'll bring this up again so we can have this conversation. Hug the ones you love. Tomorrow's live call, we'll do it. Make a great day, make a sale, and last day of January, if you can get a last listing or sale, well, you know what, if you're putting something together but it doesn't get signed till tomorrow, you could always put it back into January if you haven't hit your goal yet, so you can start fresh for February and hit a new goal for February. Hug the ones you love, make a great day, make a sale, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.